Boom. Boom goes the dynamite. Good morning, y'all. Cheers and good morning, y'all. It has been a hot minute. It's your boy JR coming to you live and early on this beautiful Saturday morning here in Ben Lomond. We are in the second round and it is absolute chaos right now. The last we left, y'all, there were two really good series and the rest of them were just bad, y'all. So we're catching y'all up. It is the TSA Hoop Show. We got some more games coming today. We got to recap a bunch of stuff today, so we're gonna spend a lot of time dissecting that. Try to get through as much of that as we can over the next hour and 15 minutes. Then we're gonna do a little preview. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Try to figure out what's up, what's coming. What up? Good morning. Y'all, first of all, I want to say for y'all that may go back and rewatch this tomorrow, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, to the moms of moms, the grandmas, the aunties. I got, my sisters, they got kids. I got my one. Here are my mother-in-laws. Man, moms make it, man. Moms make this possible. So when you see Tyrese Halliburton's mom on the court standing up to Giannis for no darn reason, because that's my baby. And, she may be in the wrong, but you don't mess with Mama Bear. Them's the rules. Okay. And the moms are the reason why we have this show. So we're going today to make sure that moms have their day tomorrow. Point blank and simple. And if you guys have any comments, you have any questions, you have any concerns about anything hoops related, NBA, or if you want to give a shout out to your moms, post it right here. We'll make sure that gets out. Much love. All right. So again, apologies for missing this past Sunday. Just health. Had to take care of the self, had to take care of the body, had to get right. We always want to make sure that we give you guys 100, and it was definitely less than that available for you guys for that show. But boy, oh boy, is the NBA not letting off the gas. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and yes, this show is all about the second round. We're second round, second banana, seconds, please, because yes, we want a lot more of the NBA. Second banana is just trying to figure out who the real Batman is, since that theme is going around for Golden State right now. We're gonna get into that a little bit, and yeah, it's all about the second round, but we gotta recap the first round real quick, y'all. It's a lot, so save y'all some time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Boom, and here we go. Okay, so Cavs versus Heat. That was a blow by. Cavs. I mean, the Heat were number 10 seed team. We didn't expect much. A lot of us picked the Cavs coming out of that, unless you're a Heat fan, because you believed in your team. There's just too much good stuff out of the Cavs, fully healthy. They just came into that and just completely waxed the Heat. Over on the Thunder side, Thunder and Grizzlies, pretty much the same thing. Grizzlies were one of those teams that sort of had a similar record to the rest of the 3 through 6 teams in the West, but they just, really, really stalled out towards the end of the season. And the way that they played then was sort of the way that we ended up with the team that we did playing the Thunder now. Thunder just clicked. There was one game, I think it was game 2, where the Grizzlies had it, let off the gas, and the Thunder came back and won. So the Thunder swept that series. And let's get Nuggets Clippers real quick, because we left y'all basically with that series tied. So we'll come right back to that. Lakers Timberwolves. I said it. I said it. I said it. It was more of a warning to myself and that belief because I had the Lakers. You guys know I put the Lakers all the way in as champions. Silly me. Um, Timberwolves had it, man. Lakers just did not have it. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the theme, the the overarching theme, or some of the themes that are going on with the success of some of these teams in a bit. But shout out to the Wolves, won that series 4-1. Lakers go back to the drawing board, probably out in search of a serviceable big man, a couple of serviceable big men, in fact. Um, we'll get a little bit more into that in a different show for the offseason. But yeah, Timberwolves, uh, Rockets, Warriors. You want to talk about a series that was sort of the epitome of the results of this playoffs? That series was the definition of knowledge of veteran leadership. We've been here before in the Warriors, and that's the reason why they succeeded versus the Rockets, who they're getting there. They're a young team, and I think I put the Rockets in the next round, and we'll go back and check that later. But Warriors came out on top from that series. So we ended up with Thunder Nuggets and a 6-7 seed again, second time in the last 5 years that a 6 and 7 seed have met in the conference semis. So, Warriors do it again, coming out of a play-in seed to advance in deeper into the playoffs. This time deeper than their California counterparts, the Los Angeles Lakers. All over on the East again. Cavs, Pacers, skip that. Pacers Bucks was very disappointing series, especially the way that whole thing ended. We talked about Giannis on the court. I believe we left y'all with that series being done. So Pacers moved on, and what the Pacers are doing now is a lot of what they did in the first round. Is just a lot. It's very shocking because this is a Pacers team that didn't seem to do that enough in the season, but it's the playoffs. So moving on. Knicks Pistons, that was an absolute dogfight. I absolutely enjoyed the heck out of it. But again, you're talking about a much savvier and knowledgeable team in the Knicks, especially being more closer to 100% now since they got Mitchell Robinson back. Pistons made some key mistakes in that series, which caused them to lose 1 or 2 games down the stretch. That's how we got the Knicks where they're at now. And then Celtics Magic, just too much Celtics offense, and that's why we got Celtics 4-1. I really want to quickly talk about the Denver Nuggets because they took the Clippers to 7 games in a dogfight of a series. The Nuggets absolutely smashed the Clippers at home. It was lovely to see. I'm okay with rooting for the Nuggets this time around because they're not my problem. they weren't my problem. You always hope as Lakers fan, the Lakers would advance and some other team would take care of the Denver Nuggets, but of course Clippers couldn't do that. And now we have Thunder Nuggets, Cavs, Pacers, Timberwolves, Warriors, and Knicks, Celtics. Okay, so just real quick, JC, gotta love you. Said Wolves in 5. Yes. Shout out to Shannon Sharp for completely jinxing us for this postseason. Best matchup for y'all, huh? I'm just going to post that comment up here so that way it'll annoy the rest of us Lakers fans. Wolves in 5. He's also saying Wolves in 5 because he believes that with the we'll just go ahead and go over it right now. The Golden State Warriors and Minnesota Timberwolves right now, series tied 1-1. Steph Curry injured himself in game 2, hamstring injury, and is believed to be out until at least game 6. And I, for one, I know that hamstring injuries have hobbled great point guards. So it's absolutely devastating to hear. It's even worse to see because this matchup was proving to be a very great testing ground for this Wolves team with a very young and budding whom Americans, okay, Iggy, when you go back and you listen to this, you listen to parts of this, hopefully there's like a part of the video I can tag you on, because if you guys have been following the show over the course of its history and you've been following the sports affiliation and all of our hoops talk, one of the long-standing conversations that we've had is about the NBA trying to find an American-born superstar again. Since LeBron James, Steph Curry, and now I guess you could say Kevin Durant are all on their way out, and the NBA can't find someone to properly represent the logo, the next best thing is Anthony Edwards. And so far, forgot who said it, but someone said that Anthony Edwards is basically going around collecting infinity stones the way that he's defeating the greats. He put Luka out. He put LeBron out. He's trying to put Steph out, KD, Booker, all these players that we've had in the top 10, top 15 in their respective seasons or whatever. He sent Jokic home. That doesn't make any sense. The Wolves and Anthony Edwards sent the Denver Nuggets and Jokic and Nikola Jokic home one season. That's a very thick resume. But you're going up against right now the NBA has Nikola Jokic up there, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Those are the two right now, and they're both one. Shai is Canadian, and Nikola Jokic just has, in my opinion, all of Asia right now. So, I mean, we know where he's from, but that's not the point. Is that he's the biggest thing since Yao Ming to come out of anything across the pond. And that's not, well, I'll take that back. Dirk is pretty big. Shout out to Dirk. Love in Dallas and West Texas. But this series is the Prove It series for Anthony Edwards, and it's a shame that Steph Curry is not going to be available till at least Game 6 because we may not have a Game 6 for one. And for two, again, we're talking about second banana here. It's very interesting that it is a Prove It game for Anthony Edwards because sorry, I have no idea why I kicked myself out. But for the series, so Ant is averaging 21 and a half, but you wouldn't think that he was averaging 21 and a half by the way that the team has had this sort of great balanced attack, and everyone else on that team has consistently stepped up. What was wild was the game one. The main reason why the Wolves lost as bad as they did was because the 3-point shooting that came alive in the series versus the Lakers was non-existent. In fact, Anthony Edwards went, what did he have? 5 points game one? $99 to 88. And again, the Wolves are the have the home court advantage this series. And Anthony Edwards with 9 for 22, 1 for 5 from 3. Oh, yeah, 23 late. Up until about 3.5, almost late fourth quarter, man was MIA, which was not for lack of trying, but like the whole team just went cold. So, you just flip over to game 2, and then Steph gets injured. Jimmy tries to step up. Here we are. Series is tied 1-1 back in the city. So we're back in the Bay today. game 3 today. And, you know, again, we're talking about second banana. Uh, Jimmy Butler has essentially stepped up in a great role as taking over the team as Batman. The question is who that second person is affecting the game in a positive manner. Because right now, as usual, the full attention is on Draymond Green and Draymond Green's antics. And if Draymond Green's going to get suspended with his technicals and so on and so forth, which has been the MO for the last 5 seasons. And for a person watching basketball, I'm pretty sure that a lot of us are saying, oh, enough is enough. But for being someone that would have to play with that, I would say more of whatever Draymond's doing, because I think that dirty and physicality are king right now in every single series. The refs are swallowing whistles. They're giving these very interesting, uber specific calls, like tit for tat type of calls. Like, oh, you didn't get the call over here, so you came back and you fouled him hard over here. So we're going to call the reaction. And I've seen a lot of that throughout like 2003 to 2007, where it's like, oh, I know you didn't get the call here. And that type of physicality has been affecting games late. We're going to get to we're going to get to the series that has affected so far. But physicality is what is going to be needed for this particular series between Golden State and Minnesota. And I think if you guys are interested to see who comes out of the West, because right now it's like you're going to get either a hobbled, more experienced team in the Golden State Warriors or a full strength, somewhat inexperienced Wolves team. But the difference is that the Wolves have played together longer, which is essentially why they beat the Lakers. Them being able to play together for this core amount of time, because their main core, from Mike Conley to Rudy Gobert and Nikhil Walker-Alexander, Naz Reid. The newest additions are Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, who had a great effect in that Lakers game. Yo, what up? Good morning, Joe. Joe says he's officially a Wolves fan. That is okay. I think you can go ahead and partner up with JC. You guys can go ahead and tag team, whatever. That's okay. I think it's okay to be a Wolves fan, because we were talking about how much Anthony Edwards could be a star, but we'll see how he does for this test and steps up offensively. I think he's been doing a pretty good job defensively. So, but yeah, this core has been playing together for some time now. So it's absolutely no surprise that their ability to execute and just step up, like they know their role. They know where they can step up. They know their matchup. I think it's a good reason why I think that having the Wolves in the conference finals is not completely a bad thing, because if you flip over to now a 2-1 series in Oklahoma City and Denver Nuggets, and let's just go ahead and share that with you guys right now. And just last night, Denver beat the brakes off of OKC in overtime. I just want to make that clear. OKC, it was a back and forth battle. This was a very close game, and then went to overtime. And then Denver just went ahead and took over, y'all, in the overtime. And one of the main reasons why we're here is because of not just the emergence, but the consistency of the 3-point shooting of Aaron Gordon. And if you guys hear turkeys in the background, that's because we have turkeys in the mountains. So a little sound effect for y'all. It's just amazing. Like, despite now, SGA, for all intents and purposes, we're talking about the greatness that he has emerged into and the proverbial possible new face for the NBA. One of the two MVP candidates that hasn't been announced yet. And by the way, we've gotten through a lot more awards since then, so we may go over those for a little bit as well. But SGA he's averaging, as you can see here, 28.3 a game. Nikola Jokic is 26.3. These guys were barely catching 20 by the time the fourth quarter came along, which is crazy to say. It just, again, it goes more into how much team ball, team experience, togetherness, and the ability for someone not named stars to step up has been proven for all of these series. Because when I start to go through some of these names, you're like, who is that? That's why you have to watch or at least listen to these games, get a little bit more info, because you don't normally hear these names throughout the season because the season is just completely different from the playoffs. But being able to understand your role and gel and not have any questions, to be able to completely execute, it's almost surgical. And it's why you can have Jokic with 20 points and still win the game. It's why you can have Murray with 25 and still win the game. It's because of the ability for other players to step up. But yeah, Denver's here because AG and that dunk was wild. I was in the car, almost ran off the road because I was so excited listening to that. But anyway, we're here now. Series is now 2-1. Series is in Denver right now, so advantage Denver. As so far, it's best of 6. If Oklahoma City comes back and beats Denver like the way that they did in Game 2 in Oklahoma City, then of course it's coming back to OKC, and then it's a best of 3 series and ball up top. All right, so we'll see what happens as far as being able to change that around. The combination of Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren is proven to be an on again, off again thing. I don't know if it's a rotation issue. Let's not forget that Chet was out much of the season for OKC because of that hip injury he suffered early on in the season, which basically knocked him out from being a most improved player candidate or whatever have you, whatever he was going to be candidate for, knocked him out of it. And they solely relied on the rebounding of Isaiah Hartenstein at distribution for guys like J-Dub, the execution of Shea, and so on and so forth, to be able to score. And it looks like that execution right now isn't really happening because they're having a little bit of a clog issue down in the paint. And Nikola Jokic is, of course, proving to be the best big man down the middle. So that, and Jamal Murray is being playoff Jamal Murray again. That hamstring must be very, very, very healthy. Man, hamstrings have knocked out some pretty big point guards. Jamal Murray, Chris Paul, Steph Curry. I think Dame had a hamstring injury at one point. Chris Paul has had a numerous number of playoff hamstring injuries. Just pointing that out. But yeah, series 2-1. Series is a lot more exciting than I'm making it, y'all. I'm just saying it like I'm saying it right now because I have coworkers who have had me locked in at work. Like literally they shut the door and then we're all forced to talk about and listen to this series. And let's go ahead and get to that right now. I'm going to be not professional right now for like 2 seconds because I'm wearing the hat. Buck Foston. I wish those were the first 2 words that my child had learned. So that way we could introduce her as a complete Lakers fan, but Buck Foston. How about the fact that we have two series where the teams, the 1 and 2 seed, both had 20-point leads in both games, lost them both, and lost both games. Boston goes into New York today down 0-2 to the New York Knicks. I'm sorry. It's almost comical because what I said about Boston and the reason why they lost some games is the exact reason why they lost game 2. They went 15 for 60 from 3. At some point, and according to Jason Tatum, today's game is going to be fun. Oh yeah, they must have ran suicides in the game too. Because at some point you gotta stop shooting the three ball, man. Mid range jumper. The old heads talk about none of these guys have a mid range jumper. I think that's not true. I think that I think that there are NBA players right now in the league that have a mid range jumper, and coaches implore them not to use it. And I think mainly is because of the inability to rebound a mid range jumper. But I think mid range jumpers are going to be the thing that can eat up defenses. I've seen more zone in this last season than I've seen over the past 5 years combined. Okay. Teams were throwing these weird um 2-man, 3-man zone scramble defenses. They're doing these wedge force to one side type of defenses. They were doing tough man on man, simple matchup type defenses, but I've never seen traditional 2-3 zone utilized so often before today. The Wolves have been using it. The Nuggets have been using it. The Knicks use it from time to time. They use a box and one that looks a little bit interesting. And so when you talk about we dare you to shoot on us, and the Celtics say bet, and in the fourth quarter, they look like they've lost all of their talent, like they're in the NBA Jam move, the NBA Space Jam movie. It's early, y'all, and it's hurting me inside a little bit because when you pick front runners, the expectation is that you play like front runners. And for much of the game, Boston, and I'll tell you later, Cleveland have played much like the front runners in these series. And for both games, you would have believed that Boston would have ran away with them, but somehow in the fourth quarter, between poor execution on Boston's end for offense, going cold, and then I don't know, I don't even want to call it defense. I want to call it endurance. I think that would be a good word to use for how these teams are coming back. New York is a healthier, younger, and bigger team. And because of the way that fouls are being called or not called, the way that the physicality has been increased, ratcheted up, and being allowed in these playoffs, Boston is getting beat up. And if Boston survives this series and moves on, I mean, iron sharpens iron. They're probably a team that you should fear because the way that Orlando beat up on Boston got through that series 4-1, but it looked the way that they came out of it, you would think that they had won 7 games. And New York is getting full advantage of that because New York suffered the overt physicality of Detroit, got through that, and now they're employing, it's like they absorbed the physicality of Detroit. They learned from that, and they're still utilizing it against Boston. And that and endurance has been the key between the fourth quarters in both games for this series. So again, going at 12:30 today. Tune into that series, guys. You see, stars ain't starring right now. Cat double machine over here, but it ain't been Cat. It's been Brunson. Okay, it's been Mikal Bridges. It's been I mentioned Mitchell Robinson earlier. Other guys are stepping up for New York in absence of the effect that guys like Cat have had or not had. Over here on the other side, Jason Tatum, 18 and 15. You see that for the series. But to be honest, it's not the Jason Tatum series. It's not the Jaylen Brown series. It's the Peyton Pritchard series. It's the Luke Cornett series. It's the series of everyone else except for the Stars right now. And that's because the Stars are being hit, they're being hurt, being locked down. And it's absolutely amazing to watch, because if you guys get to watch these games, you get to find out who players are not named. Okay? Not named Brunson. Of course, Brunson we can talk about all day, and we talked about it last time, his utilization of the free throw. Again, we're positively positioning what he does with the ball and everything like that. So, but the physicality that he puts his body through, it's been paying off because other guys have been able to step up around that and utilize that. And New York has won on, but I think it's like 10 points is the difference. So I think that Boston's going to double down today. I think Coach Mazzulla is going to triple down, not double down, triple down. And I think we're going to see even more 3-point shooting today. But the difference today is going to be execution versus not executing, because going 15 for 60. Do you know how often you got to shoot to get 60 shots up, let alone 63 pointers up? You know how much rebounding has got to happen? And then for that game to be, it makes me laugh. The game was 91-90. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. The difference between the two games is 4 points. And Boston's, it doesn't make sense, guys. How do you go 15 for 60 and you lose by 1, dog? If I got 60 shots up in a game, period, you best believe we're going to hit about 30 of them. 15 3-pointers, God, dog. And I've been arguing with my buddy at work. The quality of the 3-point shots have actually been decent. They just haven't been falling. It's almost like a lid on the basket. Well, you would think that if there's a lid on the basket from 3, you go into the arc, right? It's amazing what happens when the basket opens up from a different spot. Your perspective on the basket becomes clearer. I mean, yeah, that defense against Jason Tatum on that last second drive in game 2, if you guys go back and rewatch the game, yeah, Joe's like, yeah, there were open looks too. If you go back and look at that last second drive, Jason Tatum finally decided to go to the basket. But if you haven't been executing down the game of trying to get to the basket, if your fatigue and your endurance are low at that point in the game, then it's no wonder that not only did he trip on his own drive, on the out drive to the basket, but he jumped flat, which is why that defense was so solid, why that block was so clean, and why Tatum couldn't get a shot off. And I don't want to go into like, oh, he is clutch or he's not clutch. We've had some players hit those clutch shots. Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. Shout out to Jalen Brunson, of course. Shout out to Aaron Gordon, who have hit those close shots. But endurance and everything else has been a factor. And because these teams aren't hitting their shots, they've been essentially whittled down. And that's why you see the series as it is right now. Lee Boston get some good rest, because the drive from the trip from Massachusetts to New York, what is it? Boston to Rochester, is not that far. So I think it's about the same distance as going from Bakersfield to San Diego. So not that far, not that long. So Boston should have got some pretty good sleep. Joe says can't make it through multiple 7-game series being one-dimensional offensively. This is a fact. That was a problem for the Lakers. Last year they got lucky. Okay, here we go. Had one of those open in the 2008 Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna pin that right here, Joe. We're gonna show that right now so that way everyone can get a good laugh because we like to go cross-platform here on the TSA Hoop Show. And again, guys, if you're just tuning in, yeah, we're going early this morning because tomorrow is Mother's Day. So make sure that you give your mom some love. For those here and those gone. Shout out to all the moms. It's the main reason why we're here. Can't do it without moms. Moms make the world go round. But yeah, man, this series, I could talk a lot more about this series. I want to talk a lot more about this series, but I think right now, for me personally, I need to jump off this series because we need to talk about how did Cleveland lose both of them games, y'all? Okay. Game 1, a lot more players available. 20-point lead down a stretch. Indiana comes back, wins a game 121-112. That's not acceptable. Okay. You have the now defensive player of the year in Evan Mobley. You have perennial all-star Donovan Mitchell. I don't think we had Darius Garland for that game. But you have guys like Sam Merrill stepping up. I'm sorry. I think what disappoints me is that Cleveland, with all of their defense that has been touted all season, has been riding on this man right here, Spida, Donovan Mitchell. The offense is not clicking, you guys. Yes, is one of the highest scoring series in the second round, but the defense isn't defending. Like Jared Allen, for all that he can do, is only one guy, and it's proven to be that the front court is absolutely imperative for this series. If it's not 100%, it's not working for Cleveland. And the problems that Cleveland has had throughout the end of the season when they've lost some of those key games against top teams, the front court was the reason why. It's not the backcourt. The backcourt has been about the same. Execution wise, Donovan Mitchell should not have to when the team has had success, the spread of the point distribution is a lot like what Indiana's looks like right now. As you can see, leading scorer on that team is for the series is not Tyrese Halliburton, it's Andrew Nembhard. First, second quarters for both games 1 and 2. Matter of fact, for game 3 as well. The name you heard, Nembhard. You heard his name a lot last year, and I don't know if it's something in the water, if they give him something special for the playoffs, but this man comes alive in this series, and Cleveland does not have an answer for him. In fact, if you start going and recapping some of the play-by-plays, you'll see that when Cleveland starts on a run, they start defending, start coming back, key shot comes from him, comes from Nembhard. So Cleveland did win the game last night. Won it on the road at Indiana. They got a game 4 coming up here. I believe it's tomorrow. In Indiana, series is 2-1 Indiana, but that game 2, although they were missing some people, this is supposed to be the other number one. This is the other number 1 team, and they're down. They're losing to a 4 seed right now. I don't quite understand it because not because it's like it's not that I'm not watching the games or not listening to the games or not paying attention to exactly like the minutia and the details, but one of the things was fouling fouling late. So the game 2 situation, and this is why I said the front court has been an issue, is because Cavs Cavs up Cavs up 3, 40 seconds to go. Interesting no call. Ball gets turned over to Indiana. Tyrese Halliburton goes up for 2, gets fouled, makes 1 of 2. The and we're skipping through I'm skipping over all the free throws that were missed before that. Okay. This last little bit. 12 seconds ago, Halliburton's on the line, goes 1 for 1 on the second free throw. Missed rebound comes down. No one from Cleveland gets even where near this rebound. Tyrese Halliburton comes up with the ball. Dribble, dribble, dribble. Step back. Wet. I mean, you saw it happen versus, I think it's his fourth one. His fourth 3-pointer. Dagger to end the game. It didn't end the game because Cleveland had a second left to try to throw something up. But Tyrese Halliburton again steps back, 3-point shot, good, 121, 119. Indiana. The late game inability to rebound, the lack of energy because Donovan Mitchell himself was tired. They kept having to sub him in and out, try to get him a quick breather. The energy, it's like the energy starts here for the front runners and here for the underdogs, and there's an inverse. Just watch the scoring chart, and when you see the gap close on the front runners as far as the score is concerned, you can see that the energy for the underdog increases as the game gets deeper, as the game gets longer. So these overtime games, these deep, close in the fourth quarter games, the team that has the better endurance, the younger, tougher team has been pulling it out. That's why Denver's ahead in their series. That's why the Wolves may pull this one out over Golden State. That's why Indiana's up 2-1. And that's why Boston is looking at a big goose egg. And we'll see what happens at 12:30 today. Is because more suicides in the summer, y'all. More ice baths, more hit workouts, more running in the hills, okay? More hill training, more yakking in the bucket, because right now all the players that are coming grit and grind, finally the fans spoke, they yelled. Adam Silver said, "Yo, refs PA, refs association, y'all listen, swallow the whistle. Scoring is down, defense is up, physicality is up, the toughness is real. If your team is within 5 and you're the team down 5 in these series right now, I don't care how until the timer on the clock is 00, have hope, have faith, because if you're the younger, tougher team, that's been the difference in this series. And Cleveland just right now is not proven tough enough. The front court is just not healthy. You can only do so much without Darius Garland. So hopefully they get him back for this series. For completely healthy for next series. He did come back. Cleveland was 100% available. I don't know if they were 100% healthy for game 3, but their availability is the difference in between them winning and losing. And it just goes to show that with all of his scoring, Donovan can't carry with that alone. He can either score or help you defend and score, but he can't do both. And it and it's not, and I'm not saying that as a knock on his ability or his talent. It's just too much to do in these playoffs right here, where you are going to get beat up. You might see a lot more contact going in the middle. I think it's a lot to do that 15, 20, 30 times a game for these players, because was the season was sort of called like that this season. But if you're a player that's had 8 seasons up until this point and that hasn't been the type of calls you've been seeing, if you're not used to this type of physicality, if you had to utilize this season in order to train yourself into that physicality, uh, I don't I don't think we can ask of you as a player to go out, score 40, and be able to defend on the perimeter, because those times when Donovan was out, scoring went completely dead for Cleveland, which is another reason why Indiana was coming back in those in games 1 and 2. He couldn't defend on the perimeter, which is why guys like Neesmith and Nembhard were killing it on the perimeter, which is why Halliburton could wait until late to be able to execute. The hardest part about watching this series right now is seeing Tyrese Halliburton looking like he has not broken a sweat all game. I mean, he sweats, but guys, watch these series. They may not have your favorite teams in there. They may not have the all-star talent that you think that should be out there, but watch these games. It's super important to see how they execute, because whomever comes out of these series, everybody has a chance to win. If it's not the front runners and you get the lower seeded teams out of these series, it's mainly because the narrative right now is not just late game execution. It's togetherness in the experience of the team, endurance and toughness, and just the ability, the raw ability to grind it out. And someone find a mid-range jump shot. If you find a mid-range jump shot, I think someone's going to Sean Livingston the heck out of this championship. Okay. You don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the 2016, 2017 Golden State Warriors. He had a really good mid-range jump shot. That's all I'm saying. Previews. Well, that's coming up, and let's talk about it. Okay. Playoffs. So again, today, Boston versus New York. Boston versus New York today at 12:30 Pacific time, 3:30 Eastern time. Game is in New York. New York is up 2-0. I think Celtics take this game. They are a much better road team than they are a home team, so it is okay to bet Boston. Shout out to Deontay for taking the brunt of all the craziness that we've been throwing at him for the last couple of games. We've been having a lot of fun back and forth. He wants to know the next time that the Lakers play. I want to know the next time that Jason Tatum steps up. Jason Tatum's game is on the side of a milk carton, but it's all love. I think that Boston takes this game today, so they're a pretty good bet. Let's see, game today. Let's see here. This series. We'll get you the spread in a second. But and then we also have Minnesota Golden State coming up at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Pacific Time. Those are the two games today. I think that with the injury to Steph Curry, and Minnesota seemed to settle in a little bit. Game two, Anthony Edwards, although he did seem to re-injure that ankle that he got injured against the Lakers, I think that Anthony Edwards will be available for game three. He's young, he's tough. All that kid wants to do is ball, which is a very rare thing to have. I mean, his Anthony Edwards idol is Kevin Durant. Now, you take away all the off court stuff, it's essentially the same player. A player that loves ball, doesn't really care about all the hoopla, got his guys around him, very tough. I think the Wolves takes game three. They may take games 3 and 4. Warriors are probably gonna have to dig something out of a hole somewhere to be able to survive this series. But I've been wrong before. Clearly, I put the cart before the horse with the Lakers and did not. And I am on record for asking for the Wolves against the Lakers. Okay, so I thought it would be a better series, but hey, that was me. And if the Wolves win it, it is not just because of Anthony Edwards. It's because of Anthony Edwards' ability to have people gravitate towards him. I mean, it's interesting. Forget the smile that he throws on camera. I mean, the purity of him as a person, the openness and sincerity of him, I think is allowing the NBA fan to like him as an NBA talent. So the hope is that carries over and it continues to create that camaraderie with the new additions of Juice and DiVincenzo. A lot of people are hoping for an what they call it, the Nova final, the Villanova final, where it's the Wolves versus the Knicks, because we now have a new pope, who also went to Villanova. So it'd be Villanova everywhere, and I think Rico had said it. Man, the AT&T Villanova commercial will go crazy. I think that will be something special, something amazing, but that's looking further down the line. But today, if you guys are taking them straight bets, Wolves in Boston. We'll see how that pans out. If nothing else, appreciate you guys tuning in early this morning. I think that's really all we need to actually. No, let's not quit on y'all. Let's talk about these other series real quick. Because I think it's super important that, again, if you guys have nothing to do, and if you guys think that it's not worth it, I'm telling you it's worth it. Watch that Indiana-Cleveland series, because Cleveland has a chance to tie that series, but the way that they have to tie that series is by having everyone on board. I think that's been another key difference. Again, I said the front court has just not been there. For Cleveland, the dependence of Donovan Mitchell to have to score 30, 38, 40. Let's see there. Game three. Just thought the box score. The Donovan Mitchell, 14 for 29. Jeez Louise. For 14 for 29 for 43 points. Max Strus, who executes at some of the key points to hit those key shots, went 4 for 8 with 20. Evan Mobley, that he just got back with 6 for 13 with 18 points. Jarrett Allen, of course, the double-double machine, who had 19 and 12. So again, Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, those are the guys that need to stay 100% healthy. Darius Garland, that they just got back, went 3 for 11, 10 points. But Again, shout out to guys like Sam Merrill and Dean Wade for stepping up in place of Evan Mobley when he wasn't available, or switching out when has been on the court. Sam Merrill has been one of the bigger plus minus guys of the series, so it's always good when he's on the court. Good things happen when Sam's on the court. He makes positive impact, positive plays. So I want you to keep Sam Merrill, Max Strus, and Darius Garland in your mind if you're looking at keys to this series. On the other side, Pacers, that game, Halliburton, 2 for 8, 0 for 1. He got pulled on this game. It was just not happening for him. He had 4 points. Benedict Mathurin, one of their big guys, 23 points, 6 for 11 shooting. Nembhard only had 10 points, so he got nerfed this game. It was just complete nerfing this game because the front court was available. But if you compare that game to game 2, Halliburton 7-11, 19 points. Miles Turner alive, completely alive in the center, 8 for 17. Okay. Neesmith, 8 for 13 for 23 points. In that same game, okay, Donovan Mitchell had to go 15 for 30 for 48. Sam Merrill, guy that I mentioned before, 5 for 10, 14 points. Darius Garland, not available, injury illness. DeAndre Hunter, not available, injury illness. Defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley, did not play, injury illness. Okay, so key difference here is just availability. Availability is the best ability. That's that for that series. Denver just took over the series 2-1 in Denver. So we'll see how OKC does stepping up for game 4. I'm picking OKC to tie the series. I'm picking Cleveland to tie the series for their respective games tomorrow and Monday. But we'll tune in and see. You guys let me know what you guys picked, how we feel about those series. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to toss them in the comments below. If you guys go back and watch this later, we appreciate the love. Don't forget to give that thumbs up. Hit that like, subscribe button so that way you don't miss a thing from the sports affiliation. This has been absolute dream and passion of mine, and we're not coming to a close yet. We're going to give you guys some updates on how we're doing in our pools for playoffs is concerned. It's just 3 of us. But three is more than none, and let you guys know how we're looking at as far as who's going to win that out. Of course, 2 of us picked the Lakers to win, so that's the best of 1. I think now with Iggy with Denver still alive. We're going to talk about that. We'll see you guys again. Appreciate it, Joe. We'll see you guys again next Sunday. It's going to be a late one next Sunday because I'm going to be out of town. Of course, like I said, I'm going to be in the city. If the Warriors are still alive by then, you guys will hear from me. We're going to get back on schedule. We'll see you back here bright and early. Appreciate you all. We got a lot of off-season stuff coming, y'all, and the WNBA is starting up too, so don't forget that. If you guys want to find out some more about that, make sure you stay tuned in. Love, peace, and chicken grease. We out here, y'all. We out.